remember that we're all human beings. Remember that outside this job, we have a life. We have families, we have our own problems, we have children, we have issues. When you bring in the recruits, teach him about IA early in the game. Teach him about IA at the academy.
Welcome back to the IA Got a Police podcast here with your host, Marlon Marrache. Another special guest. Of course, we know they're all special. First and foremost, what I really want to know is surgeon, right? Pre-med, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you had these aspirations to becoming a doctor, man. Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Well, I come from a family of medical employees. First of all, before I even get into the story, thank you for having me. I appreciate that, man. It was a great time with you, brother. Come from a family of medical doctors.
Okay.
So naturally, hey, you're going to be a doctor.
That's the expectation.
That's the expectation, brother. Come from, I'm Russian, right? Eastern European. You're going to be a doctor? Okay. And going to school, high school, college, university, junior university, got my bachelor's, master's. And somewhere down the line, man, I start to realize this is not what I want to do. Start volunteering, start working at the hospital, realize it's not my job. Because the doctors in my culture, where I come from, they're healers. They heal. They treat you.
Okay.
And here, brother, prescription. Here's your local CVS. Go. So I realized that real quick. And then next step is going to become a surgeon.
Right.
Bro, that's another 8 years of my life or so.
Right.
And then graduating with massive loans. So I was looking like, okay, cool. If I want to be a surgeon, I'm looking at finishing like in my 30s with massive loan behind my back. And then what? Most of my best years of my life are gone. So I was lost. Internally, the first time I ever came to God and prayed. At that time, one of the best classes in college was a class on gangs.
Really?
Intro to gangs, prison gangs, international gangs. But I retired. Shout out to my first mentor, Al Valdez, retired Anaheim PD, undercover cop, gangster cop. Became a professor, right? Worked undercover, a G, real G, brother. Shout out to you, man. Miss you. Much love, much love. And yeah, became my mentor, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with law enforcement. I always had respect for law enforcement, for uniform. Right. My uncle, I got family members who were military, so I respected the uniform always. But yeah, I fell in love with it, and right at that time when I was praying, I was just like, my God, just show me the way.
Right.
The rest is history.
And we're going to talk about that history. We're going to talk about your journey. But out of curiosity, and of course, Code 6 with Alex, I gotta ask you, knowing that there's this expectation, right? There's pressure from the family to become a doctor. Two questions that pop in my mind is, one is there a lot of kids similar to you in your culture that said, you know what, I'm just going to do what my parents want me to do and just go for it, and become a doctor, not knowing that, you know what, perhaps this is something that I didn't want to do. What do you think?
I can't necessarily say that my culture is different from others in that aspect. I know, for example, I have a lot of friends who are, Asian and stuff like that, and they have a lot of pressure. In college, when I was going to college, there's kids who committed suicide, literally, because the expectation, the pressure was real, literally. But in my culture, it's common. It's strong people, strong culture.
Right.
Expectations are there. But what I did is that since a very young age, I established myself as independent. I was holding down on my own. I was able to carry my own weight. So when a decision had to be made, and I had to break it down to my family, which is crazy from a doctor to a cop.
Was going to be my next question. How was that conversation?
Brother, I expected the worst. And I was hoping for the best, and the best happened. Because my mom told me, like, listen, son, I trust you, and whatever you want to do in life that makes you happy, do it, because I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it, man.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, so here we are in the academy. Shout out to 1216.
Yes, sir.
Right, your classmates and all that, LAPD. We're going to talk about a little bit about that, but just in general, because we are going to talk about internal affairs. I am the IA guy. I know when you first saw the Internal Affairs and Police podcast, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's just talk in general. Is police work, if you will, right, functions different in 2016 than it is today? What do you think?
Not for the most part.
Okay.
Work-wise, we still do the same.
Okay.
Yeah, we had policies change. Yeah, flavor of the month, flavor of the year, every 4 years, different president, different flavor, different, riot or conflict. Work is the same. We deal with people, brother. We deal with people. Yeah. So the work is the same. We got to adapt. Right. That's a big part of our job.
Right.
So I would say for the most part, the work is the same, man. It's not like we're switching to dealing with robots. It's still people.
Yeah, no, understood completely. Very, very fair answer. But do you feel like sometimes as though in 2016, that was like 9-10 years ago, perhaps back then we weren't so obligated to do so many things for the people as opposed to what it is today?
Yes.
What do you think?
Definitely agree with you on that one. The expectations increased. Mm-hmm. What we could do 10 years ago, and I barely have, little time on the job, and it's not like 20, 30 years. Even in my time,
yes,
a lot has changed. I came on when the cameras just got put on people. Literally, so I came on 4 months after they put the cameras on. Okay. And I started a Notorious division. You know where I started. They hated cameras.
Right.
So I did not know any better. Ultimately, I believe cameras are good.
Right. Body-worn videos.
Body-worns are good, man. You know it.
Yeah.
You're the IA.
Yeah.
But the amount of work we have to do now is a lot. But the resources remain sort of the same. And it's kind of tough.
Okay, so let's get right to it. So here you are, you see all these Instagram reels of the IA guy. You get a hold of me, and you know what? I got to be honest with you. I'm thinking, who is this cat? I don't even remember this guy. I kind of remember him, but I don't. Mm-hmm. Talk to me. How did we meet, bro?
Well, we met. Oh man, we met. I got in trouble, right?
Yes.
You
were involved in an incident.
Yeah, I was involved in an incident. First, not of its kind, but it is first of its kind, right? Mm-hmm. I was involved in an incident where we had in custody death, right? Okay. So we were all accused of murder, right? Murder cops, the usual. In custody death, you know what went down. But it was the first of its kind to be posted on social media because LAPD just launched the program where all the categorical videos are out to be released within 45 days to the public.
Right.
So it was a big deal. Of course, it has to be Newton, right? Out of all divisions, yes. It's all eyes on us. So everybody and their mom was tripping, right? It has to be done by the book, picture perfect, right? So here we are in this incident, and it's the first time I'm dealing with the IA. And I gotta tell you, man, you made me feel comfortable. And you made me feel like I can trust you. Mm-hmm. And although, you had to transfer, my case ended up going to a different person, I remembered you because I liked you. On a human level, I liked you. You had that big smile. You were like, hey, brother, listen, this is what we're going to do. This is the game plan. You kept me in the loop.
Right.
So, man, how many years have passed? What, seven?
It's got to have been 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, man. I deleted your number. Uh-huh. And so when I saw you on the Wise Nuts podcast, on my friend Joe's podcast.
That's right.
I was like, that's Marlon. I was like, this guy. And, he's on his own. He's doing his thing. I was like, man, this is awesome. So I'm like, hey, bro, what's up? Remember me? And you're like, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, my God, what incident is he talking about?
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it's very rewarding. Of course, it feels good. But more than anything, I'm humbled by the fact that we met, during an incident by which you probably thought the world was going to end. Which is the reason why we started this podcast, along with many other reasons, because I always say we because we're all in this together. Mm-hmm. Certainly I can speak for all of us in law enforcement. It's a topic that's very taboo. It's not talked about enough. And so I found a niche to say, you know what, let's do it this way because this particular topic, we can learn a lot from, mm-hmm. right? And so here you are, and you saw this. You started looking at social media. I got to ask you, what was your first impression of an internal affairs, type of content? What was your thoughts?
I think my first impression was, listen, man. First of all, you got balls.
Yeah,
you got balls, and I gotta tell you that face to face because I had to do that on my own, not through internal affairs, mm-hmm. but I'm the type of guy who's all about self-development. Mm-hmm. I was that guy. Always been, and still am. I would speak out. I would go against the grid. I believe in mental health, mental wellness for cops. I believe that we need to step it up. I believe we need to give tools to all law enforcement officers to do better, to be better, to take care of themselves.
Right.
Man, the stress of going through internal affairs can be a lot.
Right.
I went through it myself. I had friends who've gone through it. It's a lot. And so for you to step it up and do this for the public, for nearly 1 million of other brothers and sisters out there, I respect that. And so when I saw it, I was like, man, I got to reach out to this guy.
Do you, Alex, let me ask you this. Do you feel as though that going through an internal affairs investigation or just being involved with IA or anything that involves discipline, you don't think that mental wellness is like attached to that, like in the past where it is today? You feel like, hey, if I'm going through an IA, I'm like really stressed out. Who do we hold accountable for not making this process a mental wellness issue? What do you think?
Not making the process like attach separate department to the.
So you and I right now we get a phone call. Your classmate or my classmate, and they're telling me, "Hey, man, I'm going through this IA and I'm just super stressed out." You can agree with me that today we're going to go and wrap ourselves around the individual and provide that mental wellness. But 10 years ago, 25 years ago, it wasn't like that.
No.
And so my question is that why the sudden change, and who do we hold accountable for not making it that way?
I don't think the change is effective enough. I personally don't think big machines like LAPD even have enough to provide for officers who are going through these kind of situations. Small departments, maybe. Like the department I'm right now has a really good program, and I really respect and admire. And it's hard when you're a big machine, right? But what I think who should be held accountable? Command staff. Yeah. We're so focused on, they train, they give us all these tools, right? To fight, to shoot, to apprehend, to do all the effect and arrest. But they give you very little bit about how to take care of yourself, how to go through that mental health, mental wellness. And so if you put that IA pressure on somebody, give them a little bit of help on the back end, because the stress can break a person.
Yeah, you think we keep them in the dark?
Yeah. I think so.
Were you, I suppose, did anybody communicate you in your in-custody death with someone there to like say, hey, let me kind of explain you the process, or are you going to be okay?
My peers. My peers. And it's tough because when categoricals happen, what's the first thing? Separate everybody. Yeah. Everybody gets assigned sergeant. And you better hope the sergeant you just got assigned to is not the type of sergeant who, did desk duty, just hit patrol last month, and all they care about is getting promoted.
Right.
You better hope that somebody who's been on the streets and who knows what you're going through right now. Because I had the opposite. And my peers were there for me, and I'm very grateful for that.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. As you reflect on that incident, that in-custody death, as you sit here today, what is it that could have been done different, if any? What do you think?
I can't sit here Monday morning quarterback because my incident, like I said, was sort of first of a kind.
Right.
It's not the first in-custody death, but it's the first one that's been posted and everything has been done according to new protocols.
Right. And if I may interject, not necessarily the incident, I'm talking about the process.
The process?
How you were treated, if you will. Is there anything different that the department could have done to, I suppose, it's your first one.
Yeah.
I mean, you only had what, a year or two on?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? And this is just like, shit. I mean, it hit you hard. So my question is there anything the department could have done to kind of alleviate you from that stress?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's one thing I call, and I'm going to say it freely right now, and again, I'm not upset about that. I was at the time. The individual, before he ended up departing from this world, spat in my face, in my eye, with blood, with spit and blood in his eye. And then he decided to depart. I don't know what's got in his eye. I've been in contact with HIV positive blood twice, full on contact. We all know, working in South Central, we all know what kind of diseases they carry, possibility of STD, HIV, directly in my eye. So my main priority was that. I'm like, I need to go get tested. I need to get his blood tested to make sure, like, I need to jump on a cocktail or not, the pills. And unfortunately, the way I was treated, they sent me to the same place where regular inmates were to be treated and tested, until somebody was finally like, came to common sense, is like, no, like, doesn't matter, this kid has barely a year on the job. Send him to a proper facility, get him properly tested, and get everything in order right now, before like this becomes an issue. And I'm very grateful to that person. I'm grateful for speaking up as well.
Good.
So that's one thing. But another thing is, yeah, definitely, this is gonna sound weird, but assign everybody a person like you, man, for Jesus Christ, bro. Like, make us feel comfortable, man. You're going through this, you're there for 12, 18, 24 hours. It's, you know,
it's a long
we're
process.
Humans, bro.
Yeah.
That's all.
Like, you know, take off your uniform, relax.
Yeah.
You want to get something to eat.
Yeah.
You know what? Call your wife, just let her know you're
Exactly.
going to be okay. Yeah, you know what? I always felt like there's probably, like you said, if we're going to, you know, be critical and Monday quarterback the thing, we could have done something better.
Of course.
And that's what we're here to have this discussion so that we can make this process a little bit more comfortable, more reasonable, and more, or I should say, less stressful.
Less stressful.
Right? It's not every day you get into in custody death and go through all that. Let me ask, okay, so let's move on, bro. Here we are in the academy in 2016. Shout out to 1216. We already did that. And I know the answer to this. No one from Internal Affairs came in to tell you what they did, right? In the academy, right? We checked that box. So my question to you is, your impression of Internal Affairs back in 2016 in the academy compared to today as we sit here and have this conversation. Has it changed? And if it has, how so? What do you think?
Again, I can't speak for the same department. I left that department back in 2020.
Okay.
You know that. I hope a lot of things changed. I hope there's more people like yourselves who make guys who get in trouble, make you feel a little more comfortable like a human being. There was nothing told or taught to us about the IA. If anything, it was always like, hey, man, just stay away from IA. Hey, man, be careful. Oh, you got IA? Oh, ooh, watch out, boy. Yeah. You know, stuff like that. So it's always like, okay, like, cool. IAs, tell me about it. Just like DUIs. You know, we all know majority of cops hate DUIs. What did I do? I hated it, but I went and I taught myself how to DUI, so I'm not going to be running away from them.
Right.
Dude, if you give me an opportunity to learn about IA, let me sit down, let me talk to somebody. So at least I know what to expect. If you're a hard-charging cop like me and my partner were, bro, like, at least we want to know what's going to happen if we get into trouble again.
Right.
So give us the tools. Introduce us to the person who can possibly burn us, you know?
Yeah.
And that was not the case for me.
Right.
But hey, stop scaring the people, right?
Yeah,
give us the
man.
tools.
You know, and I asked that because here we are. It's, you know, June of 2025. And for whatever reason, there's this negative stigma still attached to IA. You know, we're the dark side, the rat squad. Some people call it the boogeyman.
Boogeyman,
You know, people call it Blue Falcons, you know, and so on
yeah.
and so forth.
I think it's because of the big department, like the department I'm in right now that I lateral to after LAPD. It's smaller, and you know the people, and
Right.
and in general, it's kind of like the sense of like taking care of each other is there because you know the person.
Right.
When I met you, I was like, "Who are you?" First of all,
Yeah.
and if you were an a-hole, I would be like, "Bro, like next," you know.
Right.
I'm not gonna talk to you.
But let me ask you this, though, because that department is, you know, 200 plus. It's considered, I wouldn't even say medium, probably medium to small.
It is medium.
My thinking is the challenge with a medium department is, would it be fair to say that once someone gets an IA, everybody knows?
Yes, that exists. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. And all of a sudden I can't talk to you.
Yeah, and it's not like I've got so many. You know, I got one there and one here. I
Right.
got only one and one to compare.
Right.
But I did feel a little bit more comfortable going through the
Really?
process, in a sense that, again, the people in the small department, you know, the way they approached me, the way they came to me or at me,
Yeah.
the way I was communicated was a little more like, okay, I know the people, they know me, and they walked me through the process, sort of like you did when I was part of the LAPD. Again, it's a big machine.
Yes.
The process is like,
Right.
right? It's like, what step, which part of this process am I in right now, and what's next?
Yeah.
So it's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, it's
Right
the
there.
fear of the unknown. Yeah, no, totally. And I always felt like, especially with even smaller departments, we maybe you can agree with me when I say something along the lines like we're probably the biggest hypocrites in law enforcement, because if you're in a medium-sized department, even a small department, and I target those two specific because, like you said, everybody knows when you get an IA, we're the thin blue line. We're one big happy family. Thanksgiving, we do a potluck. Holiday season, hey, you know what? I'm the chief or the captain. I'm command staff. I'll work a shift for you. You go home. You know, we're all that. But hold on a second. You got an IA. I can't talk to you anymore. And so I always felt like that's a little hypocritical on your part. One, two, it's not really the thin blue line. And more than anything, if we're going to be transparent, like we say, this buzzword, transparency, which we do with the public, right? You were talking about, I believe it's SB 1421, where you have to let the public know about all critical incidents in custody death being one of them. But next thing you know, I can't talk to you anymore. And I always felt like, you know what? Maybe it happens with doctors and nurses or even architects or even lawyers, but I don't know. I wouldn't know. But with us, you claim the thin blue line, but we're not. What do you think?
I would have to agree with you. And it's not only when you get in trouble with IA, it spills out into different things. So me personally, when you come from a standpoint of self-development within the department, mental health within the department, taking care of each other within the department, that's thrown out the window. And cops are great. We are great at all departments. We will die for each other going code 3 when there's a help call or a backup call. 100%. Happened to my friends, literally, nearly died while going code 3 to another friend on help call. But when you're in trouble, when you're suffering internally, when you're going through your divorce, when you're going through the IA, when you're like looking at the bottom of the bottle or the barrel of your own gun, hey man, just get over it. Hey man, just suck it up. Hey man, we don't talk about that kind of shit. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Just you're a cop, man. You're a man. What are you talking about? Where's that help there?
Yeah, well, that seems like it's a culture issue. How do we fix that?
Starts at the academy. Well, I'll backtrack. It starts before the academy. And I always tell new recruits and I had recruits ask me like, hey man, what can I do to be a better cop? Should I be a cop, even be a cop? One guy I had to tell him recently, I'm like, I know you and I said it's like a brother to you. At this point of your life, you should not be a cop. You're not ready. You're not ready mentally. You're not ready physically, spiritually, whatever. Because when you give a gun and a badge to a person who hasn't healed internally, to a person who's not emotionally mature, unstable, and have their own mental trauma and luggage to deal with, because let's be honest, man, this whole psych test and all that stuff, they don't phase people out.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
You give that person a gun and a badge to rest before disaster. And in the academy, you go into academy, you don't give them the right tools, you know, what are they going to do when they need those tools? You don't have the tools. Yeah. How do you deal with it? Again, bottle or barrel?
Yeah, you know what? You bring up a really good point, Alex, because you remind me when you're talking about the psych test and how do we change the culture of knowing that you are going to be mentally stable, right, if you will. That's probably the best way I can put it. I think about the incident in Memphis PD. Remember when all the male black officers in that specialized detail.
Scorpion, right?
Scorpion detail, and next you know, they just tuned this guy up. It's an outright crime. That's not even tactics. That's not even police work. That was just, you know what? Let's just tune this dude up and commit crimes. And so when that came out, a lot of the critics and the experts, well, you know what? It's a hiring issue. It's a it's a standard issue. Oh, well, we lowered the standards. Well, I'm gonna call bullshit on that. You know why? To your point, because you can be top-notch Ivy League graduate. That psych test you aced. You're written, everything, perfect candidate. And you go to this Memphis PD and you get in the unit, and culture is going to dictate what you do, and sometimes what you don't do.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
This is my only job. I just got married. My wife is pregnant. I got to pay the bills. I got to pay a mortgage, and I got to do
what I got to do.
What I got to do. You know what? It's morally wrong. I don't like it, but I got to do it. So I always felt like it's not really a hiring standard issue, because you can be at the top, and you're right. The psych doesn't mean anything. The question is, sometimes just by having a conversation or getting to know someone, you would know if someone's mentally stable to do this, because you're going to see the worst of the worst. What do you think?
I definitely agree with you on that one. yes, hiring standards, yes, filtering process, background process plays a role. But at the end of the day, it depends on the person. And you can take a good person, and that person is not emotionally mature and he can break under pressure, because it's easy to break under pressure, especially in the little good old boy clubs or units, right? You want to get in, you gotta be molded.
Yes.
I've been told, hey kid, we need to mold you first before we get you in. You know, it was up to me to mold myself or not. Right. And my decision was I'm not molding for anybody.
Right.
But I know what it's like. And if you can't make the decision for yourself, who's to say that you're not going to be a liability? Right.
Now, as far as being mentally mature, you think that has anything to do with age? What's your thoughts on that?
I'll give you an idea. I always said this one thing. I think they should increase the hiring age for police officers and require a degree for two reasons. Number one, if you go through life, the little older you are, right? I joined when I was in my late 20s. I've held a corporate position job. I went through college. Like in the process, any kind of job out there, even a sales job, it's customer service. What do? Customer service, right? So at least making them apply after a few more years of college degree, they've held some kind of job, cashier's job, sales job, customer service job. Most likely, they're a little older. They've dealt with people. They know how to communicate. They know how to de-escalate.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good idea. People disagree with me, but I'm still holding the same point.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I asked that because you're right. I mean, if I'm 21 years old, and nothing against the 21-year-olds that are applying, go for it. We need more. We need cops. We do. We need cops. Probably desperately now more than ever.
Yes, we do.
Than 10 years ago or 25 years ago. But I have to agree with you. Maybe at 21, you probably didn't experience much. You're probably in your, I don't know, you should be a junior in college, and maybe you dealt with like classroom issues or your friends going out.
We've all been through college.
Yeah, you've gone through college. It's college life, So, I mean, how mature are you to handle, a male suspect with a knife that's coming at you, telling you that I'm going to kill you or I'm going to kill myself? What are you going to do? Yeah, you're right. Maybe perhaps the age does make a difference. I appreciate that, man. Well, look, if you're in a room full of sergeants today, right now, if I gave you the podium and right now you see a whole bunch of sergeants getting ready to begin their tour, their assignment in internal affairs to investigate, what's the one thing you want them to know about that job?
The first and foremost, I would say, remember that we're all human beings. Remember that outside this job, we have a life. We have families, we have our own problems, we have children, we have issues, we have personal trauma, childhood acute experiences, right? ACU, we have all that. When you approach a person, understand that that person may be going through something that you've never gone before. The same way when we approach the public. When you approach the public on the job, right, on patrol, I always tell myself, hey, that person's probably going through something so bad, if they dialed 911, they can't handle it on their own. Yeah. They need help. Give us that grace, okay? Number two, for all these IA sergeants, I would highly recommend to take some basic courses in psychology. There's a ton of courses out there on human behavior. Like as an entrepreneur, I study human behavior. I study obviously money and marketing and business and all that stuff, but I study human behavior. Like I study how to close a sale based on human behavior, based on your pattern, how you sitting, how you talking, how you shoulders. Like read the person. Don't be a machine. If I'm talking to you and you can read my body language, if you're directing a conversation, basic sales, and I'm doing this, hey, maybe, let's change the gear a little bit, right? Let's backtrack. Let's share a personal story, crack a joke, right? Make a smile, or do whatever you need to do. Learn human behavior. Yeah. Those are the two things I suggest, brother.
Yeah, it's I tell you, you speak from experience. It's robotic, and they treat you like shit.
Yeah, man.
Or they think they're better than you.
That too, because we both know that an IA gig is not there for everybody who wants to be IA.
Oh, no, I get that.
For a lot of people, it's to the next one.
Yes.
To the next one.
You know what? Very, very good point.
It's a voluntold.
Well, not only, don't take it from you. I'll tell you myself. Hey, you know what? In LAPD, I was a sergeant 1, right? Because I got promoted to sergeant. Well, the next step, culture, is to get that rocker. It's to get that sergeant 2. It's 5.5%, and then you increase in steps. You make more money. It's like a promotion. Well, where am I going to get this rocker? It's very limited positions. So IA is one of those. And granted, at the time, I was a defense rep. I was in officer rep section. I wanted to take it to the next level. I just started law school, and so I thought to myself, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, knowing that it was an emotional roller coaster because I am prosecuting cops. But you're right, man. A lot of times people go to internal affairs to check that box, to get that feather in the cap so that when they do promote, they apply for a promotional exam for lieutenant, it looks better, you know? So I appreciate that, man. So look, anything else that we can explore that you can tell the audience about how is it that we can make internal affairs better before we move on? What do you think?
From the perspective of the internal affair? Or?
Well, let me ask you this, because, you know, we are going to ask, what was the outcome of that in-custody death? What happened? Walk us through that.
Man, it dragged on for years. The usual depositions, hearings, this and that, all of that to settle. Okay. You already know, right? It's a standard process, right? Protocol. You know, it is what it is. But it's just dragging you through the process. That was the whole punishment itself.
I was going to ask you, how long did this process last?
Man, like 3 years or more. I already lateraled. I lateraled, brother. I left. I was still going through it. I left. I was still going through it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, though. What did your new department say about this pending, you know, in custody death incident?
The questions were raised. Luckily, I was like, guys, it's on YouTube. Watch it. What have I done that's so bad? Right?
Okay.
First of all, we got cleared by DA out of all criminal charges, right?
Got it.
Everything was by the book. No criminal, nothing. So everything was in public. So they must have watched it. I don't know if they did or did not. And the questions were asked, and I explained myself.
Right.
You know, again, body-worn camera. All other officers body-worn cameras. If you need to have any questions, watch what I did. Right. And I'm assuming they had no problem with what I did.
Obviously.
Because they picked me up and they gave me a chance, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, the punishment is the process, is what it seems like for you.
For everybody.
Yeah, you know what? In this case, and I always say, you know what? The punishment is not the penalty; it's the process. And maybe somehow, some way, we can change that. You know, is there anything that just for lessons learned or takeaways? Is there anything that the department could have done different? Yeah,
if there's one thing that I suggest that every department to do is when you bring in the recruits, teach him about IA early in the game. Teach him about IA at the academy. So when they leave the academy and they get into trouble, and a lot of times it's good, hardworking police officers, good, hard charger cops who get in trouble for doing their job, literally doing their job. And you do your job, you get in trouble, and you have no idea how to handle this because everybody said IA is bad, it's a boogeyman. Man, you can break. So please teach your recruits early on and tell them what the IA is, what its job, and how to walk through the process.
You think recruits should know about this in-custody death process? Because, I mean, come on, that doesn't happen quite often.
I think they should, because why not?
Right.
Because why not? You can hit patrol tomorrow, your first day on the job.
Right.
Boom. In custody, I know I had a classmate who that happened to.
And what did, if you don't mind me asking?
Not the first day on the job, but
like in a couple of weeks, it's like, I can't believe this shit is happening. Mm-hmm. And he didn't know, I take it.
I didn't know myself.
You're super stressed out.
Super stressed out, yeah. It happens. That's a part of our job. It's unpredictable. It's unpredictable. My second FTO was a notorious pursuit buster. Okay. Like when he had me, he had 27, 28 pursuits. I was 29th. First day, and everybody told me, hey man, that guy, you better know how to drive, you better know how to broadcast, because that guy is a pursuit magnet. I was like, okay. First day, on our way to get some chow. Pursuit, brother. Pursuit with a crash and suspect. I was like, Jesus Christ, what am I in right now? Apparently not being a great guy. Shout out to Tony Hurtado. Love that guy. But yeah, man, pursuit magnet. Yeah, and it happened.
Yeah, in custody, it could happen at any time.
Anytime.
Okay, man, let's move on. Of course, I always ask this. Worst incident in your career?
There's a few, but one stands out because that one changed my life, changed my perspective in life. My partner and I, two hard-charging cops, right? Fresh P2s, we're out there hooking and booking, brother. Dodging every traffic accident call as well, because we're too good for that, bro.
Two C's. I hate
Traffic,
two C's.
bro.
You're
No
not
way.
alone.
You
You're
go
not alone.
around. You go around. This time we happened to be a block away, so we drove into it. As the call is coming out, people are flagging us down. Okay, we're not gonna turn around.
Yeah, you can't
come
dodge
out, right? Come out. People are pointing. People are screaming. There's a guy on the ground, right, unconscious, bleeding from his head, right? Part of his broadcasting. I run up to him. He's unconscious, bleeding from his head. Some other chick runs up to me. He's like, "Hey, we gotta stop the bleeding." So somebody walks out of the restaurant, drops a bunch of towels. We grab the towels. Me and her both holding his hand. Young kid, probably maybe 18, 19, young kid, man, holding his head, trying to figure out like, hey, like how do we hold it properly so it doesn't bleed out of his head? Chaos is erupting, and I'm just like, man, just don't die, kid, don't die. And then, man, I'm shaking as I'm speaking right now. You know, it's the incident keeps going. More units are arriving. You can hear the sirens, the paramedics, all that stuff. I'm looking in the back of his head, and as his blood is oozing out, you see fatty white fluid. You already know what that is. That's his brain. Chances are, he's not looking good. And brother, I'm holding his head. I'm like, man, this kid don't die. His phone is right next to him on the floor. And I remember, bro, for some reason, man, makes me emotional every time, man. It was his mom. His mom was calling. Oh, man. Every time I tell the story, bro, I don't know why.
What's human? It's life.
I honestly hate this when this happens, but
It's okay. Take your time.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just, I got to tell it 1,000 more times for it to get over it. But, yeah, as I was holding his head and his life was leaving his body, his soul was leaving his body, he was laying there unconscious, man. His mom was calling his phone. There's nothing we could have done, bro.
Right. You said that this particular incident changed your life. How so?
This particular incident changed my life for this reason, man. And you know, it was. I'll continue with the incident. It was pure chaos. You know, paramedics came. They took custody of the kid. They transported him. He ended up not making it, unfortunately. The way it happened, he was standing on the corner ready to cross the street. There was another kid, drunk driving, speeding. The kid his age, coming drunk from the party, from a celebrity party. I'm not gonna name the celebrity because it became a big lawsuit. Hit the car, lost control. That second car spun out, took this kid out. Okay, like pushed him like 15, 20 feet in the back. That's why he landed and cracked his skull. Behind them was a girl. She was in shock. She was standing there shaking. All she kept saying is, he was just in front of me. He was just in front of me. I don't know what happened because that car that spun out took him out in front of me so quick. She was in shock. So she's in shock. This kid is dead. This kid's life is over. Because eventually the traffic officers came. They're doing the sobriety test. Not looking good when I saw his sobriety test. That kid was a DA's son. I'm not going to name which county, which city. DA's son.
Okay.
3 lives at least were affected that day and countless after that, including my own. And what I learned that day is this, man. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. Never. You can be in a wrong place at a wrong time. Had they been a foot or two to the back or to the left, had he walked a little slower, a little faster, he'd crossed that light, he would have been alive today, man. But he's not. And then his parent was calling him when this kid's life, his soul was leaving his body. Yeah. So that made me realize a few things. There was more incidents after that, but I realized, like, man, tomorrow is never guaranteed. I will never take today for granted. And I would rather die trying and doing whatever it is I want to do with my life for the rest of my life. And I tell those I love that I love them. And I'll say whatever I have to say every single day, every podcast, my own podcast, before my time comes and I depart from this world.
That's deep, bro. You know what? Thank you, and I appreciate you sharing all that. And all I can add to that is, as much as I hate to ask that question, I'm glad I do ask that question because there is applicants, right? There's people right now that are watching or listening, or anyone out there that wants to become a police officer. Guess what? This is reality. you have to live with these incidents that, and I take it that was what, 7, 8, I mean, that was a while ago.
Yeah, like 5, 6 years ago.
5, 6 years ago, and it sticks with you. I have had guests that go back 30 years.
It stays.
And it gets emotional and it stays. So my point is that as much as you think that it's TikTok hops, that's a whole different subject, or, walking the old lady across the street, community relations, that's fine. You know what? This is reality. You're going to get that one radio call that's going to affect you and impact you to the point where now you have more purpose, which is the perfect segue to purpose over pleasure. Talk to me, man. How did that come about, and what was the idea behind your podcast?
You said the name of it, purpose over pleasure. I've gone to a certain dark path of my life because I thought that's what I want to do in life. I became a cop. I became a bachelor, hard charger, chasing bad guys, getting into pursuits, making good money, getting all the girls. Yeah. More girls than it's days in the week. Yeah. I've got what I wanted. Was I happy? I wasn't. Internally, I was not happy at all. And I remember talking to one of my friends. I'm like, hey man, I'm not feeling it, brother. Happiness is not there. And he was like, you crazy? You have the life that most guys want. Yeah. You got your own bachelor pad, you drive a nice car, you have all these girls you texting with. What do you want? I don't know. Because I was chasing pleasure. I had no purpose. Yeah, I've gotten the job I want. I'm making the money that I want, but I'm missing the purpose.
Yeah, and so next thing you know, we have this podcast.
Yeah, my life changed. I met a right woman. God blessed me with a right woman. I started chasing my purpose. I wanted to do this podcast. I wanted to speak. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to have a business on the side. Yeah. So I started pursuing what my heart wanted because of that incident. Because I'd rather die trying than not do it. Oh, and here came Purpose Over Pleasure podcast.
Amen to that, man. Well, it's sometimes God puts you in. I always say this. Faith has it, right? That perhaps you had to go through everything that you're going through, this whole storm, to get you to where you're at today, and I appreciate that. What else we got going on, man? I know you got the podcast. I was a guest. Thank you for inviting me. Of course, the whole time I'm driving out to Huntington Beach, I'm going, dude, I know we met. I'm like, I know we met. And I got to ask him right off the bat, I got to ask him, hey, man, when did we actually interact? And you're like, dude, that in custody death where you were my rep. And then everything just started popping out. So I appreciate, reconnecting. I'm totally humbled and blessed by all that. But talk to me. Business, how we get a hold of you? What do you got going on now? And what's ahead in the future?
Well, right now, I'm primarily focusing on two of my businesses, which is, one is called Cube World USA, where we deal with corporations, we design, build, liquidate, businesses, companies, corporations, anything from a startup to all the way to Microsoft, Google, Facebook, SpaceX stuff, those companies. So we're nationwide and even international now, multiple locations. So we do that, and also a logistics company on the side, big rigs, trailers across the nation. So focusing on those two. Those are the money makers, the shakers. But the podcast is not there for the money. I'm not making money off of that. I'm providing value. It's my way of giving back.
Of course.
For helping dudes, helping cops. 'Cause I'm also a public speaker and a peer support counsel for first responders.
Awesome.
So it's my way of giving back, man, because people were there for me, including you, man. You helped me in the IA process.
Yeah.
Of my mentors, the cops that taught me, the cops that walked me through the process, and people who were there for me. It's my turn to give back, brother.
That's awesome. Speaking of, you're trying to give him back. Hey, man, we're about to wrap it up. What advice do you have for anyone who wants to become a cop? What would you tell them, man?
It's a two-part advice. If you're out there sitting and watching and listening, and you want to become a police officer, first of all, I admire you. It's not a job for everyone, and it's a selfless job. But understand two things. It's not the job for the weak. So first and foremost, you got to look yourself in the mirror, and you got to ask yourself, is this job for you? And there's no shame in that if it's not for you. It's not for everyone. You got to have it in your heart. You got to have it. You got to have the guts for it, and you got to have passion for it. Otherwise, don't do it. And number two, heal yourself before you get on a job. Make sure you are healed as a person. Make sure all your trauma, all your childhood experiences, everything you have to deal with, all that stuff that's inside of you is healed and dealt with. Because when they give you that gun and that badge, and you're out there protecting and serving, you have to be the best possible person that you can be to serve others. That's all I got.
All right, my man. What's next for us, man? What are we going to do next?
You tell me, baby. Part 2 in my studio.
Let's
next?
do it, man. Let's run it back, and you come back. We'll break it down. Hey, Alex, man, thank you so much for coming down. This was your old stomping grounds here in Pasadena, and thanks for sharing. I've learned a lot about you, and thanks for reaching out, man. I really appreciate it. So, on that note, please be safe out there, and don't forget to go Code 6. Thank you.